In the book by C.S. Lewis, The Abolition of Man, Stonehurst says heads are being filled with knowledge and bellies with passion, but many without chest. The head is the seat of reason. The belly is the seat of appetite. And Lewis says there is head. The head is no match for the belly, but the belly always wins. What is needed is a chest of moral courage, a chest that is a muscle that needs to be worked out. We have to lift weight of making the right decisions. This Professor Robert George from Princeton, who also goes on to say, it's not enough to know what is right or to do the right thing, but it's the doing of the right thing that is key. If you want to be a good person, if you want a child to be a good person, you have to habitually teach that child of doing right. It's not that you're taking over his will or turning into an automaton. You're helping him you're helping him to orientate himself through his own free choices in the direction doing good, which becomes easier and easier and easier. If you look at Mother Teresa, it's the first time that she acted to do good, set her on the path of doing good. When you look at Adolf Hitler, when you looked at the first time that he did evil, it built upon evil upon evil upon evil. One evil begets another evil. One good becomes another good. You have to create these good habits, and that takes time and a courage and a willingness to do. See, we're living in a difficult time. Where would this all play out? I'm going to take one political hot potato, because it's a political year. And we have to talk about real issues here. Let's talk about Obamacare. Or Romneycare. Let's just talk about it for a second. Let's talk about government health care, where everybody gets a piece. And everyone's saying, oh, it's going to be so good. Excuse me. I worked in international business. I saw how awful it was in Europe. You go to England with government health care, you sit for hours. There's dead people in the waiting room. If you want really good health care, you have to buy extra insurance. How do I know? Because I know people. I have friends in Europe. Side issue. Okay, let's talk about this national health care. Moral relativism says leads to the devalue of human life. If we're already paying $500 million a year to Planned Parenthood to kill babies, our government is $500 million a year, okay, to kill babies. Tells me our government does not value life. What's the natural outplay of this? National health care. Where as you get old, we can't really say we're going to kill you off. We're just not going to approve your care. We're not going to give you the care you deserve because you don't matter. You're done. You're old. Waste away. Ooh. That's Soylent Green. One step from Soylent Green. Remember the movie? From the 60s?
Slippery slope.
It's a very slippery slope. And it all begins with ethics. Moral integrity. If you have no absolutes, no foundation to base upon as all these speakers that in this series. By the way, the way we're doing this series is some of the Thursday nights we'll do some videos and discussions. Some weeks we'll just do these discussions, but the whole series I will have available to anybody who wants to do it with their staff, their friends, a small group later on and unpack it. We got to have these conversations. We got to have absolutes. If we don't have absolutes, we're left to our own devices. And you see, this is where it begins with us as Christians. And I'm going to give you two quick points today, because this is where I want to challenge you to think. Professor George says ethics at best is incoherent. But there are two issues that if you understand as a believer in Christ, it comes crystal clear. Number one, there is absolute evil in this world. We can't lose sight of that. We can't lose sight of the fact that there is evil. Ephesians, let's look at Ephesians real quick. I'm not going to keep you long, because this is not where I'm going to sit here and spout off a bunch of profound things. I want to make you mad. I want to stir you up, as Paul said. I want to stir you up to get you on the journey. Get you off the couch. Yell at your TV. Anybody do that? Oh, yes. I yell at the radio sometimes. My kids are like, Dad, are you having an episode? You know? You know? We've got to, I want to move you. I want you, listen, I don't necessarily want you to be mad at me. I want you to get tired of getting mad at God and blaming him, because obviously he's sitting on the throne in heaven. You know, it's not his fault we've gone to hell in a handbasket. It's because we have failed to act. And may I say so boldly, we have failed to think. I want you to think. So think about this. There's absolute evil. Yeah, this is the problem with printing out too many verses sometimes. Okay. Ephesians 5. Therefore, awake, O sleeper, arise from bed, and Christ shall shine and make dawn upon you and give you light. That's my hope today. Wake up! Please, get off your couch. Look carefully how you walk. Live purposefully, worthily, accurately, not as unwise, witless, but be wise. Don't be a spiritual twit. Don't be a dum-dum. You're not an automaton. Great Chinese believer once said, when do we question spiritual authority? Always. I've gotten in serious trouble over the years for being the guy in the room saying, excuse me, hello, over here, as they ignore your questions. That's right. If it ain't the word, we got a problem. We got to talk about these things. Think. Make the very most of time, each opportunity, because the days are evil. Therefore, don't be vague, thoughtless, foolish, but understand and firmly grasping what the will of the Lord is. In conclusion, be strong in the Lord. Be empowered through your union with him. Draw strength from him, that strength which is boundless, which he provides. Put on the whole armor of God, the armor of a heavy-laden soldier, which God supplies, that you may be able to successfully stand up against all the strategies and deceits of the devil. Strategies and deceits, which tells me that Paul is right here saying Satan has a plan. Goes forward and says, we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, contending with only physical opponents, but against despots, against powers, against master spirits who are of this world, rulers of this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly supernatural sphere. But put on the whole armor of God. I'm not going to get into the whole armor of God, but I'm telling you right now, you need to have a new awakening in your life. The simple fact that there is absolute evil. It talks about in the scripture that Satan is the prince and power of the air. May I go so boldly to say airwaves, culture, movies, music. Lucifer, before he fell, was the chief musician in heaven. Duh. What do you think his plan is now? If he was the chief musician, if he was such a beautiful instrument, that his pride got so filled up with himself that he said, I can be as God. It fell in pride. Don't you think that he isn't the prince and power of everything that comes with our culture? He's using these things. Think about it. Are you seeing, when you look at culture and look at music, do you think Lady Gaga, who is a reappearance of Madonna, who's a reappearance of somebody else, who's a reappearance of somebody who goes back to some Greek goddess, you know? You don't think there's a demon there? What are you letting into the threshold of your mind and your heart when you look at that stuff? I'm not saying let's be prudes. I'm saying think. Think. There is absolute evil, which leads me to step 2. There's absolute sin. You can't use the S word. You can't talk about the S word.